Now I'd like to invite to the stage Craig Silva, who is going to talk about how a little tweeting can change.
Hello, check. Okay. So this time last year, I had a job, and I was the senior marketing assistant. So basically, senior designer. Hello, check. Okay. So I was a senior graphic designer at the one of Canada's largest newspapers, and well, I'll remember October 21st for a long time to come. It was I was at my desk working, and I was called down to Human Resources, and they basically told me that they were packaging me, eliminating my position, and packaging me out. Now, I knew there was things going on because obviously part of the management team, we knew that they were outsourcing some work to China and Indonesia. So basically by the end of 2012, all design work across this chain, across the chain will be outsourced. So me being eliminated from this position was part one. Now, a lot of things go through your mind when you lose a job. I was sitting there listening to what was going on, and the first thing that came to mind is, what's my family going to think? I didn't care about the package they were offering me because the way they worded it was hilarious. It was, we have some good news and bad news. The bad news is we're eliminating your position. The good news is we've got this attractive package for you. I'm like, you can stick your package. But, so, basically, I was escorted out of the building. All my personal effects still at my desk, and walked out to my truck and drove out of that parking lot for the last time. And for 12 years of my life, just over 12 years, that was the best part of my day. And now it's happening for the last time. So I basically saw this coming, and I'm driving home, and the first thing I think of is I gotta work up the courage to call my wife. So I call Wendy, and I start talking to her and say, listen, this is what's happened. And normally I hear this long pause, and basically I can tell what's going on in the background. And sorry, this is tough. And I basically told her I'll be home in a few minutes. So I didn't care about listening to the news or the radio, just started driving home. I get home and I walk in, and she says, everything's gonna be okay, and she gives me a big hug. If you're not following Wendy on Twitter, she's Maps Girl, and she's sitting right there. So Wendy and I sat down that night, and she says, you need to start using your Twitter account. I went, okay. I didn't really understand the power of Twitter or the power of social media at the time. All I had was a Facebook fan page for my company. And my Twitter account had about 200 followers at the time. And I was following about the same amount back. And it's kind of fun because everyone knew me as Maps Girls DH, which was kind of cool. I had my Twitter account for about 2 years. About a year before that. And I just wasn't using it. I wasn't utilizing it. I was just talking to people every once in a blue moon. And, that was that. So that night I decided to update my Facebook status. And I didn't want to bash the company I worked at for 12 years. Even though they treated me pretty badly on the way out. So I updated my personal account to say, is now a free agent. On my fan page, it basically said, now has expanded hours. The comments that came through were incredible. People who knew what happened said, wow, it's shocking. I can't believe what happened. And the people who didn't know but knew me through Big Daddy Creative were like, wow, congratulations, they thought I quit. Well, I hadn't. So, and I was very careful how I said things because there were people I knew were going to lose their jobs who are still there now. And I didn't want to divulge any information of what was going to happen. But the bottom line is they're all going to be out of work by the end of 2012, and they're all well aware of it. It's happening across the Metroland chain. So it's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. So backpedal about a month before that, Wendy was scheduled to go to a book launch for a guy who had marketed his book solely on social media. And she said, I can't get going. Do you want to go? And I said, well, not really. But she goes, no, you need to go. And I said, why? She goes, because all the cool people from Twitter will be there. And I went, okay. So I went. And some of the people I met that night are actually in this room, which is great. Become really close friends with some of them as well. And the author's name is Scott Stratton. The title of this book caught me. I actually bought a copy that night, not knowing that Wendy already had a copy. And now we have 3, because we won one as well. The title of the book is called Unmarketing. Stop Marketing and Start Engaging. What the hell did that mean to me? You know, I spent 18 years in the print industry, and this guy's talking about engaging and not marketing. So, read the book. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have read the book. I know if a lot of you have, but what a freaking amazing book. And I'm not saying it had the same effect on me that the Harry Potter series did. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. But it definitely did change my thoughts and feelings about how I'm going to interact with people and engage people on Twitter. For example, chapter 17, How Twitter Changed My Business. Scott talks about what really helped him. Tweet constantly. Tweet quality. Tweet retweetable content. Be authentic. And use a face picture. Use a face picture. So, okay, I'll give it a try. At the time, my logo, which all of you know, actually does have my face in there, but I thought, okay, I'll put a picture up. Well, the messages that came through were incredible. One person, and one really stands out, the person said, Craig, it's great to finally meet you. Okay, Scott, I get it. Thank you. So my friends and family at the time I lost my job were incredibly supportive, but 2 things stood out. The first thing, I'd only been contacted by 3 people who I had worked with for over 12 years. 3. The people on Twitter and social media, Facebook, were unbelievably supportive. They were inviting me to places, they were giving me words of advice, encouragement. I started getting invited to places like things like tweet ups, to which I would again refer to Wendy and say, what the hell is a tweet up? And she said, well, it's where people off Twitter go to meet. I went, oh, that's kind of shocking. Like, I don't know what the hell to do, right? So I thought, okay, I'll go. Now I actually run tweet ups with my friends Troy Kloss and Danny Brown of Bonsai Interactive and Chris Farias of Kite String, which he'll be on later on today. So I had some decisions to make about my future, whether I wanted to look for a job or continue with Big Daddy Creative. And I'd been freelancing the whole time I was at the paper I was at. And I thought, okay, decision time. Work full-time trying to find a job, or work full-time trying to build my brand. But I couldn't do both. And I needed to find a way to bring in money immediately. I had some clientele, but it's not enough to, keep going and stuff. So last December, I decided that in January I was going to launch in an online apparel store. And I didn't want to go out with like 1 shirt design or 2 shirt designs. I wanted to go out with, hundreds, right? Which wasn't feasible in a month, but it launched pretty well, and it got the word out. So what happened next is the fun part. I got a private message from Dee Brunn, Cocktail Diva, and she said, I need you to do me a favor. I said, what's that? She goes, I'm appearing on the Stephen and Chris show. I need some shirts designed. And of course, wide eyes. Really? She goes, I need you to design for me. I said, done. So we worked back and forth. We designed these shirts, and we put them up on the apparel site, and she bought hers. And we decided we were going to offer them out to the public as well. So we tweeted out, hey, everybody, check out Cocktail Diva's apparel line, and I put the link up. Well, what happened next was I was contacted to do shirts for those 2 girls, for the TR Army, Jason Dykstra for Absolution Media, Barley Sugar Creations for her Check Out My Nuts soap nut shirts, G1000 Home Inspections, who's here at the back. That was fun, and all that for a side project. So that was kind of neat. It was at that point in time where I decided, I'm not looking for a job anymore. This is what I want to do. I want to be my own boss, work for myself. So things got crazy, and the next thing that happened was super exciting. I was contacted by a former colleague who basically said, we've got some work for you. We want you to do some freelance work for some magazines. I said, done. So I started designing freelance for some major magazines in Toronto, which was quite cool. So people often ask me, how do you get your name out there? How did you get some of your followers so quickly? Well, that's easy. I go to tweet us, whether it's in Hamilton at Bronzies, whether it's at Cambridge at Indulge Ice Cream, whether it's at Tweetstock in Brantford. Get there, meet people. That's how you get your name out there. So I want to leave you with one last thing. I saw the hat. If you had the chance to choose between working at a job that you're miserable at, not that you're miserable at the job, just miserable in general, or choose to be your own boss, what would you choose? I didn't have a choice. It was forced upon me. But I'll tell you right now, you're going to be afraid. You're fear that you're not going to be able to make payments or make your mortgage payments or have a regular paycheck. But I'll tell you, it's one of the funnest things you'll ever do. And like a ton of people told me, this will be the best thing that will ever happen to you. Guess what? They're right. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you, Craig. It's a lot of inspiration for a lot of us entrepreneurs that are just starting out. Now I'd like to welcome Jeanette Joy to the stage. She's all the way from California just for this event. Thank you. And Jeanette's going to talk about the Tweet Me Right charity road trip.
That's right.
Take it away.
How many of you are hungry? Who's hungry? Woo! I don't talk long, so if you listen really quietly, you might hear some really good information about Twitter and what it has done for me, but more importantly, what Twitter is doing for the world today. I started out in Twitter in 2007. I was kind of an early adopter, but I came on because I could not sleep. My daughter and my husband had passed away, and I didn't talk about that. I just went onto Twitter and made friends around the world. And so Twitter took me to Australia, to Haiti before the earthquake, all around the United States, and some other countries. I can't remember them all right now, but the important thing is that everyone on Twitter was so friendly and so nice, and I felt really, it was the best grief therapy there could be. So if anyone who really has some problems with depression or whatever, go to Twitter and we'll help you out. So during all this time, I started talking to people about what they were doing that was helping other people. And so I got the idea to do the Tweet Me Right charity road trip. And I'm right in the middle of it right now. I did one interview in San Diego before I left, and you can see the interview with the Stand Up for Kids executive director. What you might not know is in the United States, every day, 13 children die because they're homeless without parents. So the Tweet Me Right road trip is talking about how we can solve our problems. We're sharing solutions, and you would be amazed at what people are doing in the United States and in Canada. We went to Chicago, and I interviewed people who are doing amazing things in charities there, and then we went to Detroit. And yesterday, we did 9 interviews here in Kitchener and Waterloo, and we talked about homelessness, we talked about leadership, we talked about what you can do to help your community. And what's really great about these interviews is because I'm going to be going to New Orleans, talking to a woman who feeds people every day out of her back door. I talked to a woman in San Diego who helped raise socks for children because they had no socks. So she started a program called Sock It To Me, and she raised 4,000 pairs of socks. So the idea behind Tweet Me Right is that you can see what people are doing in other parts of the world and bring that home to your community. And you can share love and joy and peace and help the world on Twitter by magnifying the good. I told you I'd be fast, so let's go eat.